Welcome to Deep Thought, Sexually Frustrated Men and Sex Transmutation. And this is per the request of the esteemed legend, Don Calypso, he of the organ. But he was asking about, how does a sexually frustrated man approach sex transmutation? Let me tell a story. I'd say it from my personal view, right? In high school and college, one in high school, I stayed on the dean's list or, honor roll, right? And in college, I was on a partial academic scholarship. Now, when I went beyond college, postgraduate, it wasn't as much. Now, it was like, it's decent grades, right? Now, here's the thing. What was the difference? Post college, got way more sex and thus more distracted. High school and college didn't get as much. Got enough to keep from going stir crazy, but the focus was more on academics. So it wasn't so much I was sexually frustrated, but I was more just focused on the degree and stuff. That was just it. Now, with the sexually frustrated man, right? The key for him is, regardless of whether he's doing it by choice or he's doing it just because for whatever reason the women aren't feeling him, he has to focus his mind on a project. He has to have a goal. He has to have a goal beyond sex. See, the biggest problem with a lot of men on the whole sexual frustration thing is that they too focus on the reward of pussy. They are too focused, and that's what makes them frustrated. They doing that work and they think they'll get that reward. But if they're not getting sex like that, one, it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing at all, because the reality is most women ain't gonna satisfy them anyway. Or most women, it's only like for any man, I don't care who it is, even a player, even a womanizer who can say they've been with a couple hundred women. All those women probably didn't satisfy that man. They probably distracted him, if anything. But if a dude out there, it's normal, dude wants to have sex. It's like, take that energy or even a frustration and figure out some projects. See, they actually in a good position. A man, that's why if you really think about it, right? Some of the most successful men, they might end up getting a woman or something like that, but they don't have a bunch of women. That's just a reality. You get a lot of these, what I call Mr. Goodbar types. They making money, but no, they ain't making money. I was thinking about something else. I'm actually going to do a video on my main channel about good bars who actually make money, because it's actually rare. If you really look at a lot of those guys, yeah, they're getting plenty of sex, but then they don't have anything to show for it. Many of them don't have any material goods to show for it or anything. And I know some people will say, well, what about these rich men that have like a mistress or something? That's totally different. Because that rich man is dealing with maybe a wife and other kid. A mistress, right? Or they maybe one or two. Or some of them don't even do that. They'll deal with a wife and an escort. And some will just say, look, I'm just going to get me a sugar baby. But if you look at it, one of the reasons they were able to make it to that level because they weren't too distracted by a bunch of women. See, the thing is with women, they take your time. I don't care how alpha you are or how much you running things. You still got to give them time. And even a woman, you can tell a woman, like, this is just sex. And she's still going to be like, well, how come we don't spend time together? Especially if you have sex with her more than 3 times. So that's a distraction. And that's why a lot of dudes who get a lot of sex are distracted. Now, then you get some dudes, they ain't getting as much. That's because they have no choice but to focus on other aspects of their life. Now, they still want sex. But, they just ain't getting it like that. But that's not a bad thing. See, the first thing a man has to do is get off that frustration. Get off of it. Figure out projects. You know what? Sit down. If you are a sexually frustrated man listening to this, sit down and think about everything you want to do and every place you want to travel. Everything you like to do. And then just do it. If you want to write a book, go ahead and write that book. The key is don't write it to think you're going to get some woman afterwards. Write it because you want to write it. Check that energy. Even the energy of frustration, that's a motive power. That's energy right there. And sometimes, you get some men, and rightfully so. It's a normal reaction. You get mad, transfer that energy. Transfer that energy you can transfer it into working out. But you don't work out for the woman, you're working out for yourself. Transfer that energy into working on a book. Transfer that energy into studying some type of knowledge. In fact, that's a deep thing, especially for the men. Every man should master some form of knowledge. In fact, I've said that in a video before. You know what? That's going to be my next, that's going to come this week. That's going to come this week. I'm going to do that this week. Right? But just you want to take that energy. Now, one of the things you don't want to do, you don't want to transfer that energy into two things: porn and masturbation. Let me say that again. The key to that energy is to make sure you don't expend it and you transmute it. Because if you masturbate, and to relieve the pressure and everything, that's just as well as just having a woman. Either way, you busting nut. So you stop that, because that's counterproductive. You got people out there, they haven't done. Really, I'm gonna tell you what, with masturbation, it's really along the same lines as being a womanizer. Because both ways you busting nut. Both ways you are busting nut. And that energy isn't available for a few hours or something. At least. But in that few hours, you could write a chapter. You could do something. Seriously. You could do whatever. Also porn. That's the same thing. You still using your imagination. That's still firing you up. And actually, that's actually, porn is actually part of the thing that makes a man distracted. Because he's looking at these naked women. He's looking at some other man having sex with these naked women and stuff. And he's realizing he ain't getting any women. It's not even a case of him not getting women, but a lot of dudes ain't going to get women who look like that. So that's going to frustrate you more. You're going to wonder, and deep down, subconsciously, you're going to be like, well, why is this person getting this and I'm not? That's going to frustrate you. So the sexual frustrated man, hey, first of all, deal with the frustrations. Don't do anything that's going to exacerbate it. Leave no fapping. Leave the masturbation alone. And for those who indulge a little bit too much, this is what you do. If you're that type who indulges every day, get it down to every other day. Then every 3 days, every 4 days, just gradual. I say maybe after a month or two, you're not doing it anymore. Right? Stop watching porn. All those porn channels you got, and I know some of y'all hit up some of those amateur sites. Delete them out your favorite place, or try that to remember. Just like the same way you stop masturbating, don't do that either. Just gradually cut it out. Now, you still got that energy. When you're going to find an energy increase? Figure out every project. I've said this. I'm going to say this throughout. I'll probably say this again. Figure out any project you can work on. Now, a basic thing you can do is just work out. And I don't care what your shape is. You could be already, for whatever reason, you in great shape. Well, I work out already. But you know what? Do an extra set. Do something else. Get involved in something. Shoot, take some of those classes that some of these places have. Shoot, meet some women that way, really. So take care of that, right? Figure out what you want to do. There's a lot of many men out there are very talented. Many men are very talented. They have a talent beyond whatever they do for a vocation, or whatever they do for a living. I should say it like that. Someone's vocation might not necessarily be their living. So I'll say whatever they do to make money. I've met a lot of dudes who, they writers, or they like poets, or, they're artists. Like, I'll say something with me. I was a decent artist. If I had focused on that skill, I'd probably be able to sell stuff. If I had focused on it when I was young. I could probably still do something decent now. And you know what? If I get some free time, maybe I'll jump back into it. It's never too late. But thankfully, my oldest son got that talent. So, his teachers rave about his talent. So, and art. And right now it's just some abstract stuff. But no, I don't want to spend this time bragging about the oldest. But, focus on art. Focus on music. There's a lot of dudes out there. A lot of talent. Put that energy into talent. Like working on your talent. Put that energy in. Work on that creativity. Because I'm going to tell you what, if you put that energy there, you ain't even going to notice any frustration. Because see, that sexual energy can be used in several different ways. That's the thing. Having sex is probably the lowest form of use for that energy. Like, you have some people on some deep metaphysics, like doing rituals, doing magic, stuff like that. They get it from sexual energy. They put that energy into something else. They put it into, you can put it into saying, you know what, I'm going to read this book. I'm going to write this book. I'm going to put it into this hobby. I'm going to put it into mountain climbing. You know what? I'm going to go get this little beat up car. And instead of chasing some woman who's going to put me through hell to give me about 10, 15 minutes of faking, let me go put this car together. Find something, get that hobby or something. But transmute it into something positive with your time. Trust me. Trust me on that. Because once you get busy, and I know, because trust me, I've been there. Like I said, there was a period I ain't get much done in my life because I was messing with too many women. It really is. And, one day I'll tell those stories. But seriously, I was far from sexually frustrated, but then I wasn't getting anything done. Then when I started cutting back, that's when stuff started happening. And I can even track it. I was like, wait a minute. Instead of messing with a different woman every week. Like if, and you know what, let me address this too, because then you get some men who are even in relationships who are sexually frustrated, right? Because all of a sudden their wives or something, or girlfriends. Well, it's more wives, because if it's your girlfriend, you just break up with her. But more like wives, because you get some women, they do that bait and switch, or for whatever reason, they ain't feeling the man sexually anymore. And that's real frustrating. Put it into some projects until you can deal with your situation. So, anyway, right? Transmutation, man. Just look. You gotta find stuff to do outside of dealing with a woman. It's just that simple. It ain't really rocket science. Find the projects. Leave the masturbation alone. Leave the porn alone. Don't even pick up the magazines. Shoot. Don't even watch TV shows that's going to get you fired up. And then focus on some other stuff. So anyway, right? Keep rising and transforming. Peace and blessings.